Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, y'all. Hope everyone is doing well. Got a couple minutes here till open. Just gonna check out some strikes here for SPY and QQQ, as well as just look at some other names here real quick. We'll do a mini prep here and see what's up for this Friday. Obviously taking here a little damage early this morning after this jobs report. And of course, as we typically see, we had a positive report and a negative reaction. Which of course, is pretty standard here from big money. And some manipulation we see day to day, right? And especially here on a Friday, definitely have the work cut out for us here. So just a quick look here. We'll look at a couple indices, couple names. ES on this drop right down to our 4-hour squeeze bottom right here, right? Got our cloud down here just a little bit above this 4200, right? We got down here to 42.35, pre-market. Held a little higher here into the session, but we are back down to these levels here on this drop, right? We got about 10 minutes till open. We didn't snap right back up to engulf this candle. So let's see, right? We definitely got some work to do here, but maybe this 4-hour cloud bottom should give us a good level to risk off of, right? Always just looking for a decent level here to put on some risk. Could be this 4-hour squeeze bottom. Let's see if after the bell we come down and test it again, maybe rip to the upside from there. Or maybe we snap through and 4200 here, key psych level, is ultimately our destination. So let's see. Obviously looking over here to the Keltners as well, right? As we expect, into this third Keltner channel to the downside, right? We're ultimately looking for a pop here. But here we are, right? We keep joking about it in the Discord, right? When is this pop coming, baby? Oh man. So for now, you're just gonna keep playing this trend until the trend breaks, right? I'm not trying to knife catch such a strong trend to the downside here, especially on a daily chart. So just gonna keep playing, overall larger downside moves until we get that snap to the upside. Now today is Friday. We did have a positive jobs report, right? So maybe today is that day, or maybe today is just one of those days that we get a stronger green day in between another handful of red days. So got to be careful here, especially on a Friday, right? I say it every Friday. Don't ruin your weekend on a Friday morning, right? I know I, for one, am especially good at doing that sometimes, right? And I have to constantly remind myself to size down on a Friday, maybe play expirations for the following week here on our options, and most importantly, protect our peace, right? Our mental peace. But let's just keep digging through here real quick. I'll spit out some strikes here in a few minutes. We're going to be looking at pretty much the same deal here amongst our indices. NQ looking a little bit better here on the Keltners, right, in this top right, than ES. ES continuing to ride down here. NQ starting to go a little bit more sideways right under this 15,000. Right, 15,000, a great target here to the upside time and time again, in this overall downside, right, as NQ tries to hold up. If you are in our Discord, right, we've talked a lot this week, or the past couple weeks even, about a couple stronger tech names, right? Our bigger mega caps have been holding up pretty decent, right? The likes of Meta, right? We've been screaming Meta every day in the chat for a while. the likes of Meta, the likes of Google, right? Nvidia started to really ramp back up here the last couple days. Tesla woke up the last couple days. So we got a couple tech names really trying to prop up this market, as we have obviously seen like all year. Ruddy, we got small caps here. Another one looking just like ES. Ruddy, the one always taking a beating here, especially out of our major indices, but we're here at a weekly squeeze bottom trying to hold, right? And some good holds here so far at about this 1720. Getting some lower time frame squeeze clouds up in here now, of course, right? A 30-minute, a 1 hour, 2 hour. I'm sure there's more, probably a 4 hour right here, yep. So, you know, just something to keep an eye on here as we get general market direction, right? We don't necessarily need small caps here to get some good direction out of SPY and ES, but we definitely need YM, right, as well as NQ. So YM giving us a similar look here to Ruddy, right? And definitely between Ruddy and YM dragging down ES a little more into these third Keltners as opposed to NQ going a little more sideways. Right, we've talked a lot about rotation at the opens here the past couple weeks, right? And you can just see it on a daily as well, right? And Q trying to go sideways here in the Keltners, while YM and Ruddy continuing to eat some downside and kind of just putting ES in the middle, right? But again, overall, we got this weekly squeeze bottom right at 33,000, a strong psychological level. Again, you know, we're looking for some decent upside and some good bounces here across the board way down at these levels, but we could see rotation again, right? NQ could start to dip down, back down to this third Keltner channel to the downside, while YM and Ruddy start to hold up at this weekly squeeze bottom and key psychological levels as well, right? Not saying that's going to happen, just saying that's a possible scenario as they continue to just try and shake us up, right? The most confusing thing that they can do to retail is rotation, right? Money's moving, names are popping, other names are dying, and as an inexperienced trader, you're like, I just don't understand why nothing is moving, yet everything seems to be moving. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Apple, definitely one that I am interested in here. You know, not one that I really trade nowadays anymore after that split. But Apple's still the largest name in the S&P. Have to keep an eye on this thing. Starting to finally pop here a little bit. Getting back up to the mean, right? This thick white line in this Keltner channel. This is the daily mean right here. The daily 21 exponential moving average. And Apple's starting to finally crawl back up here. Let's see if we finally get that breakthrough or if we get another rejection like right here. Right, this one got close, but another rejection. So getting to some critical points here in the market. And then just real quick, right, like we were saying, Google, strong name here to the upside for tech. It's one to keep an eye on. Meta, of course, we've been screaming this thing at 300 here for quite a few weeks now. Let's see if Meta is going to finally break here and give us some nice upside, right? Got a little upside room to play now after this dip here from this jobs report. And right back to this 300. Let's see if it holds. Got that point of control from last month here at 300 as well. Meta looking nice here to the upside. Microsoft, another one coming off that 315, 310 level down here. Oh, we got a weekly squeeze here on Microsoft as well. See if we just continue to hold this 310. Hopefully it goes higher here with the rest of the gang. Nvidia, another one that we've been screaming here. I know Watch has been all over this thing. Nice climb here from Nvidia off this 410, right? Got close to 400, but they held it up before getting there. Back here above the mean, coming down to retest where the mean will likely be here at open. Pretty strong here for Nvidia. But alright, going to jump into SPY and QQQ, call out some strikes. Y'all know the deal here. As always, going to be watching just a few points up and down here on these names. So QQQ, we're set to open here at about 355-ish, a little bit above. Again, still trying to hold this weekly H right here. If you guys can see it in the bottom right. need to hold above this 355 really. Right, here we are right at that level. So gonna hop over here, QQQ, today's the 6th. I'm gonna keep an eye on, ooh, I like the volume here on this 357. So let's pop up this 357, and taking a note here, we got some more puts at Beast, right? We did just get that downside move here pre-market. So likely those are going to immediately pay, right? And we might flip right at the open, where calls are going to likely open at Beast. So we just got to be careful with that, right? I'm always going to scream patience at open, especially on a Friday, right? I say it all the time. Don't ruin your weekend on a Friday morning. So be patient here at open, right? We do have some upside room to play now after this dip, but that doesn't mean they don't just roll over and continue lower, which has been the trend lately, right? I know that we trade 0-day options here, so I don't really care too much about the overall trend, right? I just care about the next leg typically, but we still have to be very careful with that, especially after such a strong move pre-market. But anyway, SPY set to open here at about 423. Going to be watching this 425 call. Again, expecting calls to likely open at Beast. And going to be watching here on this other side, the 420 put. Cool. All right, y'all. 10 seconds. Ding, ding, ding. Here we go. Patience, y'all. Patience, patience, patience here. Hop over to my main internal screen. All right, ding, ding, ding. Here we go, y'all. SPY did get down and tap this daily 200 right here. Oof, yeah, we're gonna have a lot of shit on our charts here this morning. But we got down here, a little hard to see, but right at about 419 3/4, the solid blue line on my chart down here is the daily 200 simple moving average. SPY came down and bounced right at it here pre-market. I'm going to share a little screenshot of that in the chat. That looks a little bit cleaner here. Anyone watching that is not part of Predicted Trades or new to us, you can join our Discord for free in the description of this video. Alright. And just as expected here, let's see, not on this Qs, but here on SPY, this 425 call opened right at Beast. Like to see that, But again, being patient here, I'm not going to dive into anything just yet. Right, and as expected here on the put side, right, opening way above our buy zones. Of course, right, we took a huge dip down here pre-market. Q starting to get a little bit of a bounce here. Right, puts are coming back down to Beast. Let's see if they just continue to the downside here, right? We're going to get a relief pop out the gate, of course, to bring these puts back down. Let's see if they roll us over and we continue lower. As you can see here, we're about half a percentage point down on Qs, half a percentage point down on SPY. So we still got some gas in the tank to the downside, and even more so if we do catch a nice pop right here. All right, we got tick open, oof, close to about negative 1500 here. As always, looking for that initial test of 0 on tick, right, and what the reaction looks like. But with such a strong open to the downside, right, we could just continue to print negative 1000 down here on tick and continue lower. See where we got ADD down here. Pretty decent negative open for tick as well. Historically, it could go down to like negative 24, 2500 or so. So still, again, plenty of gas left in the tank to the downside as well in ADD. But again, just going to be patient here at open. Let this settle a little bit, right? As usual here, getting some rotation. YM lagging here a little bit, right, on this far right chart I got, while NQ is popping here. So again, not going to be totally convinced in a single direction until we start to see, you know, all three or maybe even four of our major indices start to move together. Popping a little bit higher here on Qs, but struggling with VWAP here on NQ, right? ES cracking above VWAP here as well. We're also right at the lows from yesterday here on all of our major indices, so wouldn't mind seeing a little retest of this low from yesterday on our major indices, and then maybe a bounce at that point. Right, would also get us right back down to these squeeze clouds. Obviously, we just came from there, so we don't necessarily need that to happen, or they don't need that to happen, but you know, we did just start the session. Let's see if they give us a little bit of manipulation here, and we come back down, tap these lows from yesterday again, and maybe catch that bounce. Wouldn't mind seeing that something like this 357 call on QQQ would come down, test our beast zone at about 70 cents, and then catch that bounce. Gonna bump up here to this 358 call on QQQ, since we're kind of getting a strong bounce on that 57. So really like how these calls look here with our beast tool, right? We got these open levels either right in our beast zone or right on top of our beast zone. So we're gonna have some strong levels here for a bounce if we start to get this pullback. Right, and as always, you know, I'm looking for the trade that I want to already happen one time before I get into it and try again. Right, so for example, these calls got a little bounce here out the gate. Want to see them come back and retest these levels. Right, this 425 call is still just in our B zone. Want to see a move out of the zone, right? I'll pull back and then I'll jump in. Tick going a little bit higher here, up to this negative 600 or so, negative 550. Oh, ADD with a little gap up right here. So we got VIX here holding right at 19, right? So we have a good level here on VIX to immediately keep an eye on, right? So just kind of keep it simple here. You know, VIX above 19 is likely going to give us downside, right? Starting to get that pop here, starting to get a little bit of a pullback here. YM with a decent pullback. ES coming down to push low of day a little bit. And VIX starting to pop here a little. we could get a big old H right here, right? So let's just keep an eye on these lows from yesterday, right? VIX getting this pop here. Here above 19. YM down to pretty much this low from yesterday. Start to see if we get a little bounce here. Got a little 1 hour squeeze here as well. Jump back over to our contracts here. And again, just being patient here, right? Always just trying to gather data here in these first couple minutes of the session. Haven't gone anywhere yet, right? Plenty of day left. Getting this pullback here a little bit more, right? But if we can hold these lows from yesterday and VIX starts to maybe top out here, maybe we don't crack through 19.5, or I'm going to start being interested in upside here. We got a couple squeeze bottoms. This low from yesterday might take an early shot here. Might take an early shot. I like these levels for a bounce. Let's see what we got here on these contracts. 55 cents on this 358 call. At the bottom of this B zone on this 425 call. Punching a little bit lower here though on this 425 call. Oof, this 358 call is right at it. And little peaks under yesterday's low here. A little rejection and tick, right? Haven't made it to zero just yet. ADD getting a little bit of resistance from our open range sell zone, pretty much right at it. Rolling over here. So we have little peaks here under our low from yesterday. Doesn't mean we don't ultimately hold it, right? Just got to be careful here trying to knife catch these calls. Right? Don't want to try to knife catch these calls and then we go down a little bit lower, and especially on 0-day options, definitely pain. Especially here right at open, when premium is typically elevated just a bit. But I like the levels we're at here. I like these levels. Down to these lows from yesterday, down to these squeeze bottoms, VIX coming up to this 19.5, and we have a beast level here as well, right on that 19.5. Really love that. Let's see what we got here. Tick back up. Let's see if it goes a little bit higher. And if ADD can hold this open level, oof, we might have us a nice bounce on our hands. Oh, starting to get it here now. Starting to get it here now. See what these calls are looking like. These Q calls looking a little bit better maybe. Which wouldn't surprise me, right, if we start to see more rotation here. Nice little bounce here so far. Alright, no FOMO though. Doesn't mean we're just going to bounce and rock it away. Let's see if we come back down again. Right, and I don't mind seeing a little leg out of this zone, right? Because I know I'm just going to hit it again when it comes back. But I still want to give myself the opportunity to allow maybe the rollover to happen without me getting burned in calls. Still only been 13 minutes here. Don't need to rush into anything just yet. Right, if we do get a wicked bounce today, you know, I'm not going to be too concerned about a couple cents here, right? Could go far. But we've had a nice bounce here so far at this low from yesterday, right, and at these squeeze bottoms. So again, if we just start to slowly maybe turn up here, right, if we come back down, I'm going to start building a position. But again, I want to see us come back down and hold again, right, and maybe not put in a low of day. You know, the rally could come, but that doesn't mean it comes right here off of yesterday's low, right? Maybe they dip down and hit our destination buy zone again on our beast tool down here, right? And then we get a big old W a little bit lower here on ES and NQ. Very, very possible. And it's the opening 30 minutes, right? It's a Friday. There's 0 days across the board. They're trying to trick retail into taking positions early. If there's something big money loves to do, is to empty little accounts out in the first 30 minutes and 1 hour of the session, and then they go about their business the rest of the day. So here we go, coming back down a little bit here to this low from yesterday. But again, if we do get the bounce here, right, this is kind of what I want to see. Just a little bit of chop, maybe right at this low before we go higher. Oh, here we go, getting a little bounce. Up to VWAP here on ES, right? Still not totally convinced on upside. Starting to get a nice little bounce here. Okay. And you know, I really like to see as well all the indices kind of with a similar setup here with price action, right? All of them are trying to bounce at their low from yesterday. All of them are kind of trying to work on getting through VWAP here at the same time, right? We have some good harmony happening between our major indices. So that should hopefully mean that we don't get rotation going into maybe this next hour or so, and maybe we get a nice team move. And it could come sooner than I am expecting. So again, y'all, I know, whoops, sorry about that. I know here I'm always preaching extra patience, right? If you're an advanced options trader or you have been with us for a while, right, you know what this looks like right here. Right, nice move here from this 358 call. Nice double here off of these lows. Not too bad off this 425 call too, holding our beast bottom, right? But again, you know, this is what I want to see. We want to see these calls hold up nicely, and we'll start to work our way into it in the next opportunity. So here we go, pulling back a little bit again. Tick still not quite up to 0 just yet, but making some good moves in that direction. ADD still holding up nicely above its open level. Don't hate that. VIX with this nice rejection at 19.5, but again, still above 19. Got to keep an eye on it here. Right, a crack under 19 on VIX would be a nice move for the calls. So got to be careful here, right? Really want VIX to crack under 19 if we are to get some calls here. And here we go, right? That bounce pulling back pretty decently. All right, still early here, y'all, but I'm gonna take a little shot here on this 425 call. Just gonna hop into one. Oh, before it runs away from me. Here at 45 cents. And of course, willing to average down here as long as we hold about this 40 cents, right? Gonna also look to get into this 358 call in case we do get a little bit of rotation. But I'm gonna let that get a little bit cheaper first, if it gets cheaper. But again, still practicing patience here, right? I'm just in one contract here, coming back down to lower beast, right? Feeling a little heat here, just a couple cents. But I'm gonna average down as long as we're above this low from yesterday, right? We start to crack under this, I'm gonna start to look to bail out. And see, you know, this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? We're getting some heavy manipulation here. Looking like we're gonna bounce, comes back. Looking like we're gonna dip, comes back. All right, I'm gonna pick up another one down here, bringing my average down to 39 cents. Really want to hop into this QQQ, but I want it to be a little bit cheaper for us. But I don't want to go too far out either. This 359 looks great here, though. Just a little bit under 50 cents. Would get us back up to this big old candle we dipped from pre-market. Trying to keep my contracts here cheap for you guys. So I think I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to hop into one here right at this open. Oh, no, just one. Here at about 47 cents. And again, willing to average down here maybe through this low of day. But let's see if we can hang on to these lows from yesterday. Maybe hold on to these open levels here on the equity, right? And again, always looking to the other side as well, right? I'm watching these puts to gauge how well these calls might do. Nice pop up to 0 here on tick, but a stiff rejection. So still just holding here at these lows from yesterday. YM taking a little bit of a dip under there, so again seeing a little rotation here, right? YM dipping a little bit, and Q still just holding up. Let's see here, a little red on these calls, but just gonna give it a chance to work here above these lows from yesterday. Again, been talking about it here this morning, right? A rollover here, a larger lowercase h, very, very possible. And still catching little bounces here at this squeezed bottom, at this low from yesterday. Just gonna give this a little chance to work here. Not loving these internals here so far for my calls, right? Got up to 0, really stiff rejection, but let's see if we can just at least continue this uptrend into 0 and eventually snap to the upside here above 0 on tick. Yeah, starting to dip back down to this low again from yesterday. Oof, a little crack there below. Let's see. I'm gonna have to bail on these calls most likely. Still holding. No. Gonna have to bail out of these. See if we can hold on to this open range buy zone before I do so. Again, just getting little peaks below. But we're at a critical level here. But again, you know, this is why when I do take an early shot, I keep my size very small, right? Not going to break me here if I take some damage on this position. Again, you know, I'm in here for 2 contracts at 39 cents. So nice hold here so far, right? Still a little shaky here on the contracts. Honestly, you know, both sides just kind of stuck here, just waiting for the snap. And you know, you guys will hear me say this all the time, right? especially when we're in just a little bit of consolidation here as we're day trading, right? No idea which way this is going to snap, right? And no one does. But we just take our shots here at the levels that we identify as good entries, right? And just got to take that chance, you know? I'm here betting on the call side after a nice dip down, right? I'm betting on the call side because I like how our beast tool looks over here. So just waiting to see, right, if this works out in my favor. No idea if it actually does or does not, but I do know that I have a good entry at some good levels here on the equity, right? And so just have to give it a chance. Nice little bounce here. Still a little red though, right here on my 425. And right at my entry here on Qs. But again, still early, just giving this a little chance to work here. Right, nice pop here in ADD, nice little dip in VIX here near this 19.5 again. Let's see if they start to support us here to the upside. But overall here, not going anywhere just yet, right? And this is very typical for a Friday, especially after an economic data drop, right? Had a big move here pre-market. This is a very, very typical pattern we see here at the open, especially after such a large move pre-market. Right, everyone shows up in a panic. They want to get into a move before they feel like another one of these giant candles is going to be punched in, and then big money just goes nowhere, right? Just have to continue to give it a little chance here, let the market settle, and let's see if we start to get some direction. And again, I'm betting on the call side just because we have good support here, right, on our charts. But again, I am definitely very hyper aware that we could roll over and die right here. And for no good reason, right? We had a positive jobs report, but that doesn't matter. The market does not necessarily reflect the economy, especially on a day-to-day basis. Again, a couple cents red here on my positions, but again, playing 0-day options here, right? We catch a nice little pop and we're boom, right back to green. So just gonna keep giving this a little chance to work here, right? We keep getting little pops here on the call side. And want to keep seeing here, you know, like on the put side, for example, want to keep seeing these puts remain under their open level, right? Keep catching little rejections here. See if we can hold up these calls. But again, not loving this price action, right? The snap, in which direction the snap is not obvious by any means, right? I have a little exposure to the upside, but definitely fully prepared to be wrong about that. And again, my position size is small, so if it goes to 0, right, I'm not going to cry about it. And it's Friday, right? I say it every single Friday. Don't ruin your weekend on a Friday morning. Keep those sizes small. And if anything, some safer trades is playing like the following expiration, right? Especially on SPY and QQQ. You can play Monday's expiration. Give yourself a little bit more wiggle room to resist theta decay. And still get some volatile moves, right? Those next day contracts still move really well. So I would definitely recommend that, especially if you're a newer trader, play the next day's contracts, right? You will have way less stress. Right, especially like if you're playing the next day's contracts, right? You see this 425 call just keeps dripping here, even though we're holding up on SPY. Right, the following day is going to hold up a little bit better. Likely is more sideways right here. But looking like we might have to cut these babies. But they're just playing here, right? We keep getting little bounces. Keep getting little bounces. But overall, you know, don't love tick here, just living negative, right? Haven't cracked positive once. Not helpful to our calls. Another strong bounce in VIX here, right? Let's see how we again do at 19.5. They keep trying to bounce this thing, right? I'm not totally convinced to bail on my calls just yet, even though we're taking some damage there. And again, a nice little bounce here to get us right back up to those lows from yesterday. Right, NQ still just holding right at that low from yesterday. So still just going to keep holding here. Keep coming back up to our levels here that we're trying to hold. And it's still early, right? I'm not going to allow myself to get shook out just yet. One fat green candle and boom, both of these positions are right back to green. Well, I am definitely taking a little bit more heat here than our other indices. Right, even Ruddy is holding at that low from yesterday. ES going a little bit lower here. Might have to at least cut this 425 call, but we'll see. We'll see. Still catching little bounces here. Oof, alright. Getting real cheap, but I'm going to cut both of these 425 calls for now. I'm going to hang on to these Q calls though. YM dragging us down here a little bit on ES, right? I'll give NQ here another little opportunity to see if we start to turn up. We got to be careful here though, right? VIX back up to this high of day. See if it cracks through this 19.5. Tick still living negative here. And ES down to this low of week, right? Again, at some other good levels for a bounce. So again, reduced my exposure here to the upside because we're obviously taking a little bit of damage, but that doesn't mean that bounce doesn't come here pretty soon, right? I set it here right at the open. We could get an H back down into our destination buy zone, right? But then ultimately catch the bounce down here. Right, and Q is still bouncing over here at this low from yesterday. And again, I'm looking here at cheaper contracts just so that we can watch together, right? Because I know a lot of people got really small accounts, some very affordable contracts. But as always, if you can afford to get a little bit closer, I always highly recommend that, right? For example, on QQQ, this 358 call is at about 50 cents, but holding here in our zone a little bit better. So, if this is something that is a little more attractive to you, I would highly recommend it over something like this 359 call. Still really loving these bounces on NQ. I think I'm going to get a third one down here just to bring my average a little bit lower. And alright, I'm in 3 contracts here of this 359 call at 40 cents, right? My total position is $1.20. Again, nothing crazy. And here we go, getting that bounce back again. Those SPY calls were a little bit weaker than the Q calls, so I'm definitely not upset about cutting them, right? They were getting a little bit riskier than I like. And Q is continuing to hold up a little bit better at these levels, right? So I'm going to just rock with QQQ here a little bit longer and see if we start to work on some upside. This is definitely difficult to trade though, right? A lot of us, especially early into the session, want to jump into a trade, and many times it's worth just waiting, right? Worth just waiting. But of course, you got to play to win, right? Got to play to win. So, I'm always preaching patience here at the open. But, I'll take a little shot here and there, right, early into the game, just to have a little bit of exposure. Getting back up to my entry here and going slightly green on this position. Let's see if we start to make a little climb. Nice little pop here so far, but again, I'm still looking for tick to get above 0 for to get some true upside, right? I do like that VIX is once again rejecting here at this 19.5. Did put in a little high of day, but coming back down again. And we see this a lot, right? Big money will edge and edge and edge into one direction and then snap the other way in one big candle, right? And this is what can be frustrating about trading options, but you know, the more you see it, the more you kind of start to plan for it, right? And here we go, that 425 call coming right back. But again, we're sitting pretty on this QQQ call, so not going to worry about that 425 call anymore, right? We're out of it. We're done with it. It's all good, right? If it comes back and goes to a buck, whatever. That's trading. But nice little pop up here on these contracts, right? And as always, you know, I'm just looking to defend my position with my extra contracts, right? So I've got 3 contracts here at about 40 cents. You know, I was a little slow here on this pop, right? But I'm definitely looking to take one, let's say at about 60 cents, right? We just got there on that pop. Let's see if we make another little push back up there. You know, I'm going to look to sell that at about 60 cents, right? That's about half of another contract. And this is how you start to defend a position as you start to gain some value out of it, right? And especially if you have multiple contracts, this is a good way to maybe ultimately have the last one contract or last couple contracts paid for so that you can move higher, right, with less stress. You know, as you start to trim contracts here above your entry, right, it is less stressful to try to make a home run happen, right? And it's Friday. You know, we do see a lot of home run kind of moves on a Friday. We did have a nice dip on some jobs report, right? A big move to the upside is definitely very possible, right? I mean, as well to the downside, of course, but you know, just preparing myself and allowing myself to try and reach as far as I can. If we do get a nice run to the upside, right, I'm going to start trimming contracts on my way up, right? I'm not going to be greedy. So here, right, one of my contracts, right, or all of my contracts are at about 50% up here. So I'm going to try to trim one up here. Let's call it 59 cents. Oh, they took it immediately. Cool. Oh, I thought I had 3 contracts to this. I guess I just had 2. I was like, what? A buck right here. But that's all good. You know, it still applies all the same, right? So I was in 2 contracts. I just got out of one at about 60 cents, right? So I've now covered half of my remaining contract. My entry is down here at 35 cents. But my position won't go red until I hit 15 cents, right? I have now covered my other contract with one contract. And if we start to dip back down here again, right, I will buy another one. You know, because if we do start to break out to the upside, right, we're going to get a pop and then a pullback and then a pop and then a pullback. And with these 0-day expirations, right, this is probably going to just keep coming back to this open level as the day goes on if we get this upside move. Going to come back and check out this 358 call as well. Right, not in this one, but the same applies, right? This got down to about 40 cents, right? If your entry was about 50 cents or so, you start to trim up here, maybe at this open level, right? 50 cents to about 75 cents is about 50%. You trim one or a couple up here, maybe even higher than that, right? And you start to pay for your remaining contracts. right? It is now easier to be risky and allow for a stronger move in your direction when you have some of these contracts paid for. And ultimately, right, if you're in here for 3 or 4 or 5 contracts, right, by the time you're down to 1 or 2 contracts, most likely, right, if we're doing this correctly, those 2 contracts are completely paid for, plus some, right? They could likely go to 0 and you would still be green on the position. And that's ultimately what we're looking for here with our B system, right? Especially with these very short-term expiration contracts. You know, we'll start to move in a direction here on equity, and as we get slight pullbacks, right, you get major pullbacks on the option chart, but typically right back to our levels, right? Whether it be our beast zone or whether it be our open level, you know, that's where I'm looking to buy it again and again and again until it doesn't work. And again, still seeing some rotation here, right? Nice bounce in NQ, a little bounce in YM, but just coming right back down quickly on YM. Ruddy here, just still dripping, if anything. So got to be careful here, though, right? Still very much in danger of a total rollover. Again, tick, nice push positive here, but smacked right back down to negative 600 and some, right? Negative 825 here. ADD right on its open level, right? Very critical point here for ADD. We could see this rollover. But again, as I risk in the other direction, right, I'm going to keep trimming my position if I have the opportunity, so that if we do roll over against our position, right, some of it is covered. And as we dip here, right, I'm going to look to add to this side. Also got to pay attention here to the put side, right? This 353 put is now right at beast. I wish I had been talking a little less over here and looking over here a little more. It would have jumped into some of these puts, right? And you just start working both sides. But again, looking to do both, right? So I'm going to hop in here to another call if this comes back down to my entry, right? Getting pretty close to my entry. Q's getting down to VWAP. I like that. I like that. So I'm going to hop into another one here. Let's try maybe 32 cents. See if it fills me. 33 cents. Come on, baby. Come on. All right, I'll take it right on my entry, I guess. Stingy with it, huh? Nice little pop there. That's all right. That's all right. It'll come back. We'll revisit. Right, a nice bounce right back up. But okay, so as we get this bounce, right, I'm gonna enter some puts here as well, because it is at beast. And you want Q's are a little bit stronger here, so maybe I would like some SPY puts, as they've been giving it up here a little bit easier on SPY and YM. Beast not too far off here on this 419 puts. But definitely some tough price action here, right? Definitely some tough price action. Nice push above 0 here on tick. Ooh, maybe we'll hold off on those puts. Definitely wish I'd picked up another call contract down here. A little too slow here on the entry. They're getting back up to those 60 cents, right? So I was a little slow here. I talked too much. But again, right, had we entered another one here right at our entry of about 35 cents, boom, you could trim another one as we get close to 60 cents again, right? If I had been a little bit quicker here and did that with another contract, my one remaining contract again, right, would be more paid for, right? Maybe completely paid for at this point. Liking this pop on Qs though. Oh, here we go. Nice little pop here. ES through VWAP. NQ getting back up to our open range buy zone. Testing it from below, right? Could see some resistance. And YM still kind of sucking over here. Still below yesterday's low, but making a nice little move. Right, and here we go. Up to 73 cents on this 359 call. And pumping a little higher. So here, right, again, you know, upset that I'm just down to one contract, right? But if I had gotten that second contract down here, or what would have been my third contract, sold it here at 60 cents, I'm now cruising, right, in my last contract here, well above that. Just punched high of day on this 359 call. Let's ride this baby out. And even this 425 call on SPY, right, coming back up to my entry here, what I had originally. You know, again, just the manipulation we see here on a Friday. Very typical. And let's go. We're going high here. And again, right, I just have one contract here. Many of us with small accounts here, don't be greedy, right? I'm taking this 81 cents here. Right, as your account grows and you can be in 4, 5, whatever, 10 contracts at a time, right, then you just keep trimming your way up, right? Eventually that way up is going to have a reversal in it, but as you're going higher and trimming contracts, right, you're paying for any type of damage that's going to come later. But if you can't do that, right, let's say here you could only afford those 2 contracts I was in, don't shoot for the moon, right? You have no business holding one contract from, say, 40 cents to like $1.30 or $1.40. Right? If your intent is to take a 0-day contract 3x every time, you're going to get burned most of the time. So again, you know, too much talking here, so I was a little bit shorter on contracts than I wanted, but I don't care, right? I'm completely out of this position. I made some lunch money. Life is good here on a Friday, right? If this shit goes to $5, sucks for me, right? I don't care, but I made my money. I did my job, right? And I took a 35-cent contract to 80 cents, right? That's over a double. Right, really asking or trying to go for much more than that is just being greedy, right? Can it happen? Totally. But was I also super stressed out down here that we would roll over and die? Totally, right? So I'm very happy to get a little bit more than a double, even if we are going to continue pumping here, right? I don't care. I got my piece and I'm happy on a Friday, right? I'm especially happy that we didn't roll over and go to that pre-market low. Right, because that was a very big possibility, right? That was equally possibly a scenario that was going to unfold as the upside, right? No effing idea what was going to happen in this consolidation, right? And anyone who tells you otherwise is full of it. You know, I gave my reasons for believing in the upside, right? But that's all it really is just belief, just playing probabilities, and taking a shot where I should take a shot. And that's it, right? You cannot do much more than that in this game. Take your shots at the correct places and then literally just hope for the best, right? Manage your account appropriately you know, we all got different size accounts, and that's why while we're streaming here, I'm trying to just focus on very tiny accounts, because really the strategy is the same, right? I had 2 contracts here, but make it 20 contracts, right? And it's a whole other type of game being played out here, right? But ultimately the thesis is the same. You know, I get in at a certain level and I'm trimming here as we go higher and higher. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys, you know, especially here just off of our Beast tool, right? Anyone who is new to predicted trades here, maybe watching us, you know, this is the main thing we offer here at Predicted Trades is this Beast tool, especially here on options charts, right? This is definitely a very unique service that we offer here. Not only do we actually look at option charts, right, which is something we don't typically see here on the rest of the internet, but also we give you levels here on options charts, right? And they do a very good job of respecting our levels every day. You know, won't be surprised if this 359 call gets up, touches this zone, maybe to the center right here, and then rolls back over to our open level. And then look, at the same time here on QQQ, right, we're going to get up and tap this point of control from September, right? Would not be surprised if we get a little pullback right at these 2 levels here exactly. And then let's look around for a put here, right? Let's jump into some puts here on the other side. This 353 is a little bit far now, but what do we got? A nice psychological strike here, this 355 put sitting right at Beast at 35 cents. Oh! Let's hop in, baby. Let's take a shot here. See if we crack through this point of control before I do that. Up to 1.1 on that 359 call. Nice move. Nice move. Gonna bump up on this puts here as well on SPY. Ooh, might have to hold off on jumping into puts here. Looking strong still. Ooh, but this 420 put right at our beast zone as well. Oof, but nice push higher here, right? And look at this 425 call, right? Regert's jumping out way down here at 19 cents, back up to the 62 cents. Should have held, but it's all good, right? We made the money back here on QQQ and up to $1.20 now. Right, so again, right, if I had been a little bit more diligent here, I know I was talking too much, but jumped into more contracts here as we were consolidating at this open level, right, you trim on your way up and continue to pay for those contracts, right, up to $1.25 here on this 359 call. We've got us a banger, baby. And let's check out this 358 call. Hopefully some of you guys who can afford something a little nicer, right, maybe hopped into this one, and man, look at this just beautiful interaction here with our tool, right? All of these levels here is the one and same tool, our Beast tool here that we code in-house and provide every single day to our members, right? Nice consolidation here at this open level and right at our primary Beast zone, and a nice move out of it. Let's go, right? Looking at a 3x from this about 60 cent zone right here, right? Got up to about $1.20 for that double, and we're up here at $1.80 for this triple, baby. Let's go, let's go. Some nice moves here, some nice moves. But again, still early in the day, right? Still early in the day. It's not going to be straight up from here until close. So let's start to see if we put in a little pullback somewhere around here. Right, we're getting to the top of our open range zone here, right? We're at the open range sell zone up here on NQ. This little half highlighted zone right here. And ES getting up to this open level. We have this open from yesterday a little bit above 42.90. Today's open a little bit below 42.90. 42.90 itself a decent level as well here for ES. Let's see what we do here, right? Could be time for some puts. Nice move for tick above 0. Let's see if we get that snap back, right? Where are we at on VIX? Oh, at VIX we're at this open level, and the previous day's open level could be a little pullback here. So keeping an eye on these put contracts, right? Again, not trying to knife catch this thing, not trying to get away in the way of a freight train. But keeping an eye on these bigger psychological strikes, right? This 355 put giving up our beast zone here a little bit. Still in the same candle, so not just giving it out completely just yet, but giving a little bit of signs of weakness on the put side. But it doesn't mean that we don't start to base here a little bit as we slowly maybe curl over up here, and then we get some value out of this put, right? Same for this 420 put. Could start to see a little bit of a base put in down here at our B zone, and then these puts go higher, right? And we roll over on these calls. Right, at the same time, for example, this 359 call we were looking at is up to its open range sell zone. Could get a little resistance right there. Let's go one higher. Check out this 360 call. Bigger psychological strike here. Also up at its open range sell zone. Pretty close here, just right to this buck. Right, we love this psychological level of a buck on any option contract as well. And up to the daily 8 here on QQQ. Got this previous month's point of control here, right, from September. Could be a little pullback here in the works, but SPY here popping a little bit higher, right? Let's start to see if we slowly start to roll over, right? But again, not going to knife catch, not going to be the first one in, right? Not going to be the first one to the party. I say it all the time, right? Let the keg drop. Let the ice melt a little bit around this baby. And then we'll start to see if we get a decent little pullback. Oh. Right, we're up to our destination sell zone on QQQ as well. Gonna get my toes wet here, jumping into a 420 put here at about 28 cents. Just getting my toes wet, right? We could definitely still keep going higher here. So that's why I'm only buying one, right? And it's cheap as hell. So again, just watching for the rollover here and starting to maybe seeing some signs of it here. Tick coming back down to 0. Some fat candles back down from that high of day. VIX starting to try to pop a little bit here at these previous days open and today's open. Right, this thick white dash line here on any of my charts is the current day's open. You know, my charts have been a little busy, but it's just because we are in so many squeeze clouds. Maybe stacking up. And so again, now I am playing here on the put side, right? But if we are to continue to get an extended move to the upside today, I'm going to keep my expectations in check for what is just a pullback, right? I'm not expecting a home run out of this 420 put, right? If it even ends up working, right? I'm expecting just maybe a pullback. So here, again, referring to our beast tool on SPY, right, we're at this 424, a good psychological level as well, maybe for a pullback, just below the previous day's open. All I'm really looking for is maybe a pullback back to the top of our open range zone right here, right, which is where we were getting some initial resistance. So we could turn this level of resistance into support if we come back and pull back to it. But that is where I would be trimming my puts and then maybe hopping into some calls. Right, and again, I just hopped into one contract here. So I'm only taking a couple bucks of damage, right? Not even a Chipotle bowl yet. Life is still good right here. Just like on that initial move, right? They do it kind of slow sometimes. You know, they're just trying to shake as many people out as possible. So I'm going to refer back here to these QQQ calls, right? And really any of them, because they all look the same, right? This 360 call, this 359 call, the 358 call. All of them look about the same here. And so what I'm going to focus on, right, is price action in relation to our beast levels. So what happens, right? We get into, and if you've traded options for any amount of time now, right, I'm sure this has happened to you. You get into a position, right, and then equity starts to go a little bit sideways, right, and you start to lose a little bit of premium as everything just kind of goes sideways. So what happens, right? This is what big money does to try to shake out retail traders. If your entry down here, let's say, was my entry, this is the 360 call. I'll show it on the 359 because that's what I was playing. If your entry right here on this 359 call was, what was mine, like 35 cents? It was ultimately like 40 cents before I trimmed. So let's say it's 40 cents here, right? Pretty much our lower beast level here in red. What happens, right? They start to go sideways, they dip below your entry, right? They have a good move above your entry, but maybe you didn't trim and it comes back to your entry, right? And then it dips below your entry, and then back above it, and then back below it, right? This is stressing you out because likely as a newer trader too, what are you doing? Looking at your phone and watching all the numbers on your phone go green and go red and go green and go red, right? And you're stressed out right here just watching all of that go back and forth, trying to figure out what you should do, right? And this is where our beast tool comes in, right? What you should do, especially if you can see our beast tool here on your option chart, is to just hang on while you're at or near these levels, right? So many times, especially let's say if we had gone closer here, like this 358 call, on this 358 call, we never really lost our beast zone, right? Say your entry here instead was about 60 cents, and the same thing is happening to you, right? We go red, we go green, we go red, we go green, we go red, right? But we held our beast zone the entire time, right? I'm not going to get shaken out of this position until we really lose our beast zone, right? Even if I'm going red, I'm going green, I'm going red, I'm going green. And this is one of the major ways that we use this tool, right? all of these levels here are generated at open. So as long as we continue to hold these levels, right, these levels continue to work into the future, right? These aren't moving averages. These zones aren't moving around and following price action as the day goes on. These levels are here all day. And this B zone was even here the previous days, right? These are static levels that we risk off of, right? Or we risk right at. And we just keep holding these positions until something happens. So all right, let's see how we're doing here on the put side. We are starting to be a little bit toppy here, right? Check out our destination sell zone, this red zone across the top here on QQQ, also part of our beast tool. And we are rejecting right at it to the center right now. So right now this 420 put looking pretty decent down here at this beast zone, right? And again, if you can afford it, get closer, right? This 421, an even better look inside of our beast zone, holding it to the center right now, right? And even closer, even better, a little bit above our beast zone. And always looking to get back up to these levels, right? If I get in here at about 50 cents, right, I'm looking to maybe get back up to $1.70 at this open level, right? But trimming along the way, of course. But gonna keep the contract small here for any of our smaller accounts. So overall, liking that we're stalling up here so far, right? We're starting to produce a good level to put on risk, right? We're struggling to go a little bit higher. So the more time we spend here, right, the more comfortable I am about the reversal. And at the same time, the more time we spend here, right, and as I get more comfortable about the reversal, the more comfortable I am about having a line in the sand to bail out if it goes against me. Right, and again, you know, just watching this candle right here, coming up in little rejections here at our zone. Again, doesn't mean that we won't just boom through here in a moment, but this is what I'm looking for, right? A level to put on risk and to take a shot. I have no idea what happens here, right? No idea. But I like the spot to take a shot. So I'm gonna hop in another one here, 23 cents. My average is now 25 cents. As Q's crack a little higher. These mother effers. That's okay, right? Getting smacked right back down again. Again, liking this area for a good place to put on risk. And again, keeping my expectations in check, right? If this does pull back, I'm going to be trimming this on the way down. I might even bail out completely here at our open range sell zone, right? Which could turn into support when we test it, right? This open range sell zone here was the top of our opening range, right? And we were respecting it here early this morning, right? We could turn this little zone into support if we get back down there. See what our internals are looking like, and we spent a lot of time on that screen over there. This is what I want to see, right? We're coming back down, we're testing zero, we're cracking under it, right? Oh, VIX is still just kind of holding up right at these open levels. ES struggling at its open level from last night, right? And YM also right at that open level and the previous day's open level. And NQ up at our open range sell zone. Again, I've got multiple levels on multiple charts giving us resistance. So I'm just playing my probabilities, right? We just had a nice upside move, right? So a lot of retail and a lot of big money as well are geared for maybe another upside move. But that doesn't mean we won't get a little rejection first. Oh, but Q's going higher here. Chill, baby, chill. But this is what they do, right? We just saw the inverse down here. They kept looking like it was going to drop, kept looking like it was going to give out, right? Even pushed me to sell some of my calls, and then they rip it right back. But that's okay, right? That's totally okay. Totally okay that I sold these calls, right? What I'm trying to do more than anything while I'm trading is protect my peace. Nothing worse than trading stressed out, you're super red in a position, and you keep giving yourself reasons to stay in, and then it just goes to something near zero, right? And so we're kind of getting that same vibe here again, right? A little bit under my entry. We keep trickling a little bit lower on the option contract. The equity kind of keeps pretending it's going to go higher, right? But again, we're at some good levels for a pullback, right? Not going to let myself get completely shaken out here with these little pops. Just have to give it a chance to work here. ADD at this open level from yesterday, going sideways right at it, and we have another beast level there as well from our tool. And so again, using my calls to also gauge my puts, right? Still loving seeing these QQQ calls struggling with our open range sell zone right here. Right at the same time, Q's struggling with our destination sell zone. So I want to see both of these reject here at these zones to then give some gas to the puts. Right, I'm not in the Q puts because Q's has been a little bit stronger to the upside here this morning. Gonna give myself the chance here on the 420 put on SPY. Right, all these things start to reject. These puts are gonna gain some value. But a big part of our system here is watching a call and a put at the same time. And that's why I keep the equity in the middle here. And again, still getting little pops here, at this top that we're at in general. But I'm not going to get shaken out here, right? I'm only a couple cents red. Right, and just the tiniest pullback brings me right back to my entry. So I'm going to give this a chance to work here. I got some good levels to risk against. Right, if we start to crack through this previous day's open right here, I'll start to think about bailing out. If we crack above this point of control in previous day's open on NQ, I'll start to think about bailing out, right? ES the same here at its open level. We start to crack through all of these levels at the same time, I'm going to bail on those puts. But again, still looking decent here for maybe just a tiny rollover. And again, want to stress the game plan here about trimming, right? So again, if we do roll over here, I'm going to trim when we get back to this open range sell zone I've been talking about. Right here. I have a second contract, right? If I trim when we get here, it's going to allow me to run that second contract even lower with less stress, right? If it happens. Or if we start to bounce here, at least I was able to trim a contract into momentum, right? And it'll allow myself to hold that remaining contract a little longer in case we get another bounce before a drop. And so again, seeing it here, right? SPY, not much movement, right? Not much, but again, SPY kind of looking a little bit more willing to drop here than QQQ, right? That's why I opted this time for the SPY put instead of the QQQ put. You know, it is possible that YM, yep, here it is, rolls over a little bit harder than NQ, right? But it'll drag ES down. VIX starting to pop up here just a little bit again. And so I need VIX to pop above these open levels, right? Previous day's open here in the smaller white dotted line, and today's open here in the thicker white dashed line. So again, need VIX to crack above these levels, right? Need ADD to roll over at this level right here. Tick helping us out here, right? Staying below zero. We're up to about 28 cents here, still just a little bit above our entry on this 420 put. Starting to dip here a little bit more on YM, ES as well. But struggling here at our B zone on this 420 put. Again, our B zone is our primary buying zone here for any contract. This green highlighted zone right here. But just because it is our primary buying zone doesn't mean it won't act as resistance when testing it from below. So again, we saw it here a little bit, right? Try to pop above it, got sent back down. We're struggling at it right now, right? So again, any level that we provide here in our Beast tool is both support and resistance. It just depends what side you're testing it from. And starting to get that pullback here a little bit more on SPY, kind of struggling here with premium. It might be a little bit better on a closer strike. Let's see. This 421 put. Getting that pop, 30 cents, maybe let's call it, and we can call it 30 cents, up to about 50, right? Obviously hard to catch that bottom and that top, but just trying to see here what these margins look like, right? And also trying to gauge here, you know, the strength of this pullback. Do they believe in it, right? Are they throwing money at it? right? This one here, 46 cents. Let's say maybe you got in at 50 cents. Getting up here near 70 cents. Not too bad. But overall, not loving how little premium is coming into these puts with this little curl over, right? And it's probably because of QQQ up here holding up pretty decent. So again, you know, my plan here initially was to trim a put as we approach this open range sell zone on SPY, right? It's a little slow to happen, so they're being stingy with the premium. So again, I want to see what this looks like right here. You know, once we get down to this zone, if we get down to this zone, if this premium doesn't take a good jump, right, then most likely that bounce is coming. You know, as they are hesitant to put premium into this put, it seems like they're doing a pretty good job of holding premium in these calls, right? So gotta be careful here. Right, SPY is only a little bit red here, and QQQ is only a little bit green here. So we could definitely go much higher from this point. Right, and a nice bounce here. Right, so a good play here might be to continue to play these calls. But just have to continue to keep an eye on all of these strikes, right? Both calls and puts, and they will give you good little breadcrumbs of information on where this market could go. And so getting a nice little bounce here, let's see what this little bounce looks like, right? Are we going to put in a lower high and then maybe roll over again? These puts would look good at that point. Q's continuing to be a little stronger here this morning. And getting little tiny rejections here. Let's see. Again, this 360 call on QQQ up into our open range sell zone. But only just getting there, right? No smash out the top. Could get another little rollover here. Let's see. Our 420 put just right at low of day. Oof, trying to hold that 18 cents here for dear life. But again, y'all, I'm picking really small and very cheap contracts here just so that I'm watching something that everyone can play. But always, 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 if you can afford it, get closer, right? These closer contracts are going to do much better holding value and gaining value. Right, something like this 422 put right at Beast. You know, even just on that little dip we had, 50 cents up to about 75 cents, right? You're getting that 50% out of this. You know, maybe you didn't get in right at the bottom and sell right at the top, but maybe you get 40% out of it, right? That's a nice little trade right there. And then it comes back here for you to maybe do it again, right? Maybe a third time, and that third time is when it really snaps. You know, here at Predicted Trades, we're really trying to weaponize what big money weaponizes against us, right? We're trying to do it right back to them. You know, again, what happens here with these 0-day contracts, like we were talking about earlier, it holds, you stress, red to green, red to green, red to green, right? But with our tool here, you have the ability to hang on, right? You have the ability to see what has happened and what can happen again, especially off of our levels, right? These levels have been lethal. And then you combine that with our levels on the equity as well. Oof, man. Some good trades out here. But all right, y'all, I'm going to wrap up my session here. Keep an eye on those put contracts, right? Keep an eye on Qs. You know, Qs have definitely been the stronger index out here. We talked about a pre-market, right? Been holding up a little bit better on Qs. Gave specific examples as well, right? Oh, here we go, popping out the top here on QQQ. Qs have definitely been stronger here, right? Names like Meta, Google, you know, Apple even popping up yesterday. Those mega caps will drag us, right? So definitely keep an eye on those. Taking a little damage here on this 420 put, but again, my size is small, right? I'm playing with profits here now. I'm not going to be red on the day. And a nice pop here to highs, right? Right up to this high from yesterday on QQQ could be another great level to short. Again, we're not going to go just straight up to close here, right? There's going to be a nice little relief pullback, and don't be surprised if that target is VWAP here at some point. Something to keep an eye on. But all right, y'all, I'm going to get on out of here. If you are watching this stream on YouTube and you are not part of our Discord, feel free to join us, right? You can totally join us here for free with a description in this video. There is a link in that description. And we do this every single day, right? I stream a couple days a week, but we're in the chat every single day. We have at least one trader on the mic every single day if we're not streaming. So please check us out. You can totally join for free. We also provide in there free market education. I'm going to just show that here on the screen real quick. So over here, you know, we have this whole little education section, right? Got a nice channel here on psychology. We got some book recommendations, some gems we drop into here. If you're new to options, completely new to options, we have a couple intro lessons here. Got a lot of great YouTube videos, podcasts, just a ton of stuff here to help you out with options if you're completely new to options. Tons of videos, right? Won't make you read too much. Plenty of just videos you can crank through, and you will learn so much about options real quick with these couple channels right here. And we have an internals channel here as well. So if you're not familiar with, like, you know, tick right here, or ADD, right, VIX, the dollar, whatever. Got a nice little channel here talking about a lot of those as well, and some other tools here we provide for free, and how to read certain things to help you with options. So definitely check us out there. We also sell tools here that you don't need a subscription for, like these squeeze clouds, right? I've been showing these squeeze clouds on quite a few things. Kind of hard to see here. But yeah, definitely something worth checking out. All right, I hope everyone has a great rest of your trading day. Hope everyone has an excellent weekend. We will, of course, prep on Sunday, probably earlier in the day. And I'll be back streaming here on Monday. All right, I'll catch y'all later. Have an excellent rest of the day, y'all. See ya.